Everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jenny Chess, and today we will talk about superstition. Um, yeah, well, because I don't know, it seems like I haven't really discussed something about superstitious stuff, right? Like horror stuff and such and stuff like that in a while now. So I kind of wanted to make this into a discussion. So what we're going to discuss today in superstition. Um, I I kind of want to share about the superstition in my area, basically. Like I come from Southeast Asia, and most of you that will watch this is probably gonna be somewhere else in the in other parts of the earth, right? And if that's so, then welcome to the channel. I really welcome all of you. But yeah, there will be lots of different culture, right? And among those cultures, those lots of stuff in it, and one of them can be something like this, like something mystical, right? Or something unusual, something like superstitious, right? And therefore, I just kind of want to share about the that different superstition here, and it's probably will be different from your place or area, basically. So there's just a lot of things, right? My country has it's part of my country, because my country is made of clusters of islands, big islands and small islands, so there's lots of tribes, right? Basically, like each tribes, it's traditional tribes that still preserve their conventional stuff can still have those uh, superstitious culture, basically. Like this is just for instance, right? Every Thursday night, um, they put some kind of offering, basically, like offering. So they will have like a plate, basically, like not really plate but more like a base, and then on top of that there's like lots of food, right? Lots of food, lots of flour, lots of drink, basically, and so on and so on. And yeah, there's a lot of flour as well on top of it, and they serve this like in some kind of it can be like in nearby cemetery, and then there's also nearby big tree. Big tree, this one we'll talk about in a bit, right? The big tree is a little bit something that I know, at least in my area. Like you basically, big tree, you need to pay respect for that, because I will tell you in a second. So yeah, this offering, they put it in, you know uh, you know, lots of public area, right? Like not really public, but more like in open area, basically. Yeah, still public technically. And like again, cemetery, and then at the side of the road, at a high road as well, highway, I mean, or toll road, because usually there's lots of accidents happening in the toll road, right, or in the highway, right? And the people around believe that it's because of the ancient creatures, basically, that is living in that area, uh looking for like victims, right? So this is like some type of evil spirits, right? And to make them not really being obnoxious or evil, then they have this offering, right? They put this at the side of the road, near the sharp turn, basically, like in the highway, it's not always it's not always like it's not always what is it, like straight road, right? Sometimes it can be wavy road as well. By wavy I mean has a turns, right? And in this turn it can happen lots of accidents, right? And people put that offering near the side of the road or street and so on and so on, to make like some kind of protection, I would say. Like this is considered as talisman, basically. Like this will protect, or protect, quote unquote, the area, right? It's to be believed like that anyway, right? And then not only that, other places as well, like a river, and then like a mountain as well. Yeah, in mountain especially, there's a lot of this kind of stuff. You can see lots of this in the trail or the mountain track. Basically, you will see just lots of them. Not really lots, but some of them occasionally you will found in the side of the track. Basically, well, at least here in my place, maybe it's not in your area, right? In other country, maybe it's not like that. But yeah, so this is like all the superstition culture, right? We basically believe that we don't live here by ourselves. There's also something living as well, and and this stuff that living with us, kind of basically like colliding their realm into our realm. Basically placing living in our area as well. And sometimes just like any other human, right? If you live in a house, in a random house, right? You don't want anyone, any stranger to knock in your house, to just get into your house and then start messing around, right? You don't want that, right? And we believe that the same also happens to these spirits, basically. All this unseen, basically, right? All this unseen creature, ancient creature, whatever you want to call it, they also live and consider this as their house. And we human is basically the one that is living in their house, right? Although not really physically, right? Maybe some of you think that no, well, we are real, therefore we are the one that's owning the house, right? Well, yes, but also not really, according to the perspective of the the spirits, basically, because it's considered as their home, right? And and just like when we live together as human, we don't really want to bother each other, right? Otherwise they will get into fights, like maybe we can hurt each other, or get someone else hurt, basically, right? And the same as that as well, we don't really want to trigger the spirit, right, to attack us or to hurt us. Therefore there is this traditional tribe culture, right, that people still believe. And uniquely enough, in each part of my country, you will see that basically they believe on the superstitious stuff, as well as their way is different from one another. Like tribe A has different way than tribe B, tribe C, D, E, F, G, H, I, whatever, right? There's lots of tribes, basically. And yeah, so go back to the tree, right? In my area, at least, that we know that tree, the spirits live on tree. And especially if the tree is long enough, has is very old, like more than 25 years or even 100 years. You probably can see this as well, like in your area, when you go to when you go out in public and then you pass a tree that is very big, right? By very big I mean like more than 10 meters long, or like 10 meters is about 10 times 100 times 30 feet, I would say. more than 30 feet basically, in feet, right, or 10 meters, more than that high, right? So you know that it's old enough, right, because it's just that tall. And the longer, the older the tree, the more the spirits will live there basically, like, this is like their house, right? And here, at least in my area, we believe so. And we don't really cut down trees, like, not really cut down big trees, especially certain type of trees that is considered as sacred to us, like, um I don't know what you call this tree. This tree has a hanging root system. So the root of the tree, they have root across their branches. So it's kind of like this, like it has a root in their branches, basically like a hanging root system. If you know Minecraft, um, if you know Minecraft, you know the swamp biome. There is that tree that has vines around it, right? It's the same, except that it's not vines, it's roots basically. So yeah, there's that. If you're not familiar, I don't know what to call that specific tree in English, but yeah, the hanging root system basically, and that's considered as sacred, right? Um, and we don't really cut that tree down because, uh, according to locals' belief and traditional cultures and superstitious stuff and whatnot, if these trees got cut down, something bad will happen, right? First, it will the bad thing will happen to whoever cut down the tree. So the worker, then the tree cutter, right? The person that operates the machine to cut down the tree, basically. That will be the first victim, basically, and it can actually kill them. Like, in a weird, coincidental, weird, mysterious way that we cannot really imagine, right? Like, suddenly, this person can get very ill, and then the next day, he died, basically, and just like that, right? With a weird, like, weird, that weird kind of stuff, right? Because he always looks healthy, then suddenly after doing this, he becomes ill, right? And according to locals, it's believed that that happened because of the spirits that live on the tree got very mad, right? And then because of their house, this is their house essentially, right? According to what we believe, and they kind of put curse on that person, right? And whoever is helping him, like, and the thing is that the boss, like the one, the manager, or the basically the leader of the company that hired this guy, will most likely to be safe because technically they are not the one in charge of cutting down the trees, right? It's the worker. Therefore, the worker that got, basically that the got black coated or scapegoat, right? And yeah, there's that. um and yeah, stuff like this as well, although not really all of them is prohibited. Like, sometimes a tree that is big enough can cause harm, right? And it can fall if there is like a storm, and then it can put some victim, right? If this is the case, then usually the people will call paranormal people, like, people who knows mystical stuff that can speak to whoever living in here. They can speak and give reasons, right? That this tree will be cut down, and just basically speak to them nicely, right? This tree will be cut down because this tree will fall eventually, right? And as for exchange for that, there is another tree that is, around this area as well. And then these spirits kind of got told to move basically to this other tree, right? And most of the time this will work actually, and then just put some offering as well near the tree. It's like a treatment basically, right? Give them food. If they're satisfied, then yeah, they will maybe move, right? Like most likely. And then once they can confirm that there's no one, quote unquote one, as in there's no creature in it, then it can be safely cut down. So there's that. So yeah, that's like one of the superstitious stuff that is actually still going, not really in only in my area, but more like in most area anyway. But yeah, there is also another rules that, if you want to go have a pee, to never be on a tree basically, like at the tree directly, because again, that's like when you have a house and then you have some random person peeing in your house, right? You don't want that, right? You'll be pissed. And this is the same. So you cannot really do that, right? I mean, you can, but you should not really do that because again, some weird thing, based on stories I've heard. Don't know if this is true or not. If this is a guy, then his genitals will get bigger, like swollen basically, and and it will hurt, right? And the way to cure that is for that person to come and to apologize basically, and then they lifted the curse and his pee went to normal. I mean, that's like funny, right? But it's not really funny if you think about it. If it actually happened, it's actually kind of scary, right? But yeah, there's that. Although it can be medic in like scientifically explain, like your pp can get swollen because maybe there's like bugs in it that carry like some kind of bacteria as well, right? Or like pollen that carries bacteria, and then it touched your stuff, right? And then it got infected and then it got swollen, right? And yeah, that's like one of the scientific explanation for that as well. But there's that at least. But yeah, among these there's just a lot of other superstitious stuff, and like we don't even haven't, it's like the iceberg basically, like the tip of the iceberg. When you think what you think, right, about superstitious stuff, this is, I'm also probably on here as well, just knowing the tip. But there is just a lot of stuff as well down there that you haven't really learned, right? Even myself being in my country, there's just a lot of tribes, a lot of beliefs, and a lot of traditional, like supernatural, superstitious belief, right? And that's just the list goes on to the to the down tip of the iceberg. But yeah, I think that'll be it for today's discussion about superstition. I hope you guys enjoy it. Let me know if you in your country or area, there's also this kind of like superstitious stuff that is not really makes sense if you think about it, but it can also be, it can also make sense if you try, or if you let yourself try to understand about it. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you again tomorrow with another discussion, and see ya.